Hey, I'm back. Like I told you earlier in my previous video that I was going to share my recovery story. And people that follow me on like Instagram or know me personally know that I am a recovering heroin addict. And first I want to start by saying that I am not ashamed of who I used to be. I'm not ashamed of what I went through because it's molded me into who I am today. So first off, if you want to judge me, check yourself. Second off, if you don't want to hear anything about my recovery story, don't watch it. That's simple. And another thing is I will share my story with anybody in hopes that it can save other people's lives or give hope and inspiration to other people that may have went or is going through the same bullshit that I did. I don't have corona, by the way. That was just cough. But I want to start by saying that I know who I am today, and I will not take any rude comments. So if you have anything rude to say, get off my page. Simple as that. But a big thing with me is I will be open about anything in my life that I've went through, witnessed anything. But first off, I keep saying that. Why do I keep saying that? Whatever. But anyway, I am a heroin recovering addict, and I will start by saying a little brief thing of my past. I started drugs after my grandfather died in 2009. I started hanging with the wrong people, and pills were my go-to. And I would just like to be crazy. And I did all that crazy stuff as a teenager, and everybody thinks, oh, that's just a teenage phase. It gets better. Well, I got pregnant with my son, and I did not do any drugs during any of my pregnancies. Just to say that. Before people start assuming, because if you assume, you don't know shit. After I had Jerry, I was good for a few months, and then I got back with some old friends, and I went right heavy into it. I met some new people. I started really experimenting with certain other drugs that were a little bit harder and numbed me a little bit longer, and I loved it. And I thought I was cool because everybody's doing it, and I would talk to somebody about what I was going through and my problems, and they'd say, hey, get high, it helps you and whatever have you. And it did. I thought it did. I thought it numbed me completely. And I didn't know I was going downhill. Well, I was hard into it. I was living places that I never lived at. Going places. She's sneezing. She's all right. Okay. I was going to places that I never thought I'd, go. And I came to my dad one night and I said that I needed help. And I thought that I would get it this time. Well, a week later, I'd go back out, get with friends again, whatever. And then there was a time where I would just relapse. And I couldn't figure out what was wrong with me. Why was I always wanting to get high? Why am I feeling the way I am feeling? And it was so hard for me because a lot of people would shun me and hate me because I was a young mother who was a drug addict. And I later learned that I was burying all this bullshit that I had not dealt with. I had so many skeletons in my closet, and I wasn't okay with coming to terms with those. And it got to the point where I started ODing. And my first OD, I remember the beginning because I knew it was too much, but I just wanted to die. I hated who I was. I didn't like anybody. And I thought that I was messed up. I didn't like who I was. I didn't like my past. I didn't like anything in my life besides my child. And that was taken away from me. My child was taken away from me from my dad. And that was like the breaking point for me. And the time I OD'd, I woke up in the hospital. My dad and my mom. My dad wasn't there. My mom was. And I didn't know what happened. I didn't know anything until they told me. And the person that I was dating was there with me. And he was really, really fucked up and really, really, really drunk. And Right after I left the hospital, I went right back to doing what I was doing. And my dad had, like, maybe in a sense given up on me, I thought. And I thought everybody was. And I remember the days that I would have visits with my son, and I would do it before my visit because I thought I would feel normal, and I would be puking and chilling and scratching myself in front of my son at my visits, and my parents had enough of that. So they put a complete stop on my visits, and that broke my soul completely, which made me go into drugs harder. And I ended up leaving the person that I was with because they cheated on me. And that really brought me deeper into self-hate and everything else. And I thought I would just die from it. I was homeless. I didn't have anywhere to go. I didn't know anybody. And I was going to grocery stores and gas stations and getting cigarettes out of the ashtrays and hoping that somebody would buy me a drink or whatever it was. And then I would get with different dudes, not out of love, not out of anything. I would use them for drugs and dope. And I know that was wrong, but I got with an abusive man, and I was physically and verbally abused for a long time, which did not help my drugs. He supplied it to me, and I got harder into drugs, which is really, really hard for me to talk about now. But I got clean again for like the 60th time, probably. And my dad actually let me move into his house again because he thought I was actually going to do good. And I was clean for 30 days, 31 days. And then I had an incident when I went with my son to visit his real dad. And I ended up leaving and taking my son to my dad's house, which my grandma took him. And I went and relapsed. And this time, I don't know what was different. I contacted a buddy that I had found on Facebook. Well, he found me. And I was like, hey, what's up? You know, I'm sick and tired of feeling this way. I'm sick and tired of just being sick and tired. And I told him, I'm walking to the dope man's house now. And I'm going to get high. I'm going to do what I do is, stick a needle in my arm and forget everything. Or, and before you judge somebody for sticking a needle in their arm, the addiction of the drug takes over you. It's not don't even say, oh, drug addiction is not a disease, it's a choice. No, there's certain things out there that if you're an addict, you're addicted to many things, not just drugs. So if you're addicted to sex, you're a fucking sex addict. If you're addicted to video games, you're a fucking video game addict, okay? If you're addicted to drugs, you're a fucking drug addict. Don't judge motherfuckers because of what they do and what they're addicted to. There's help for each person out there. And that really pisses me off about people. Oh, you're a drug addict, you should fucking die. No, because you know what? We're somebody's son or daughter or sister or mother or whatever the fuck we are. We're fucking human beings. We are human beings that deserve a second chance at life. And that's what I fucking got. And I am so thankful for that. But back to what I was saying. I contacted this person. They picked me up. And they have never done drugs in their life. And they were a godsend. But I did it in front of this person. And this person told me to make a promise to him that I would never pick up or use drugs again in my entire life. And for some reason, it felt so right to promise that person I would never use heroin again. And I was dead serious. Through that night, through my high, he was with me for over 7 hours. We drove around in his car, listening to music and getting my mind off of it, and talking about everything in my closet. I have never opened up to this man. He doesn't know shit about me. I literally told him my entire life story from a young age and how certain things in my life affected me. And the next day, I started my sobriety. And that man is now my husband. And he is the love of my life. And he is my fucking best friend. And no matter what, he understands for me for who I am. He does not judge me for what I've been through. He accepts me for who I am. He knows every deep, dark secret about my life, and he knows everything that I used to do to get high. And he has only chose to love me every single day since that day. And we didn't even plan a date, but we liked each other. And through that, now I'm, God willing, I will have 4 years of continuous sobriety, May 18th, 2020. And my thing for you, if you know somebody that's struggling, don't tell them to stop. Because guess what? They're not going to stop. Nobody's going to stop unless they want to. You have to hit your rock bottom. I hit my rock bottom. That was losing every single thing and just wanting to die. Like, it was awful. And God sent me someone to change my life. And now I look back on it and I thank him almost every single day for what he did for me. Because I don't think if it was for him to make me make a promise to him, I probably would have ended up dead in a few months. Because it was so bad. I was so skinny. I wasn't myself. I was just awful. And if you follow me on Instagram, you know, because I share pictures of certain things when I was really gone. I don't remember any of those pictures, by the way. But back on the topic of recovery, I know that if you're watching this and you are struggling with drug addiction, first off, go flush that shit down. Get people that you can trust and that will love you regardless. Open up and talk about that shit that fucking hurts. Talk about the things that hurt you, because if you heal through those, you won't find a reason to use. I can promise you that. And there's help out there. Don't feel like you're alone. Don't feel like you're the only drug addict. Don't feel like you have to stick a needle in your arm or snort whatever it is, because you don't. I can promise you that. Because I went from a drug addict 24/7 to a full-time mom, a full-time wife, a full-time daughter again. I have fixed all my broken relationships. I have tackled everything that used to hurt me. And I am a complete different person. I found hobbies to do other than get high. I have found so many things about myself that I never knew because I didn't give myself the chance to know me. And I know that whatever the fuck you've been through, whatever you've gone through, does not define who the fuck you are today. You define who the fuck you are. If you are a bad bitch, if you are a good fucking Christian, whatever you are, be what you want to be. Don't label yourself just a drug addict that needs to die, because I can promise you, you're not that. And I really hope that me sharing some of my story, this is not all my story, because some of the details and stuff people don't fucking need to know unless you're like super tight with me. And I want to help people. So if you know somebody that is like totally struggling, somebody that really needs somebody, send them my way or message me. I've had people at all hours of the night message me and say, hey, I know this person, like, what can I do to help them? Or, you know, how did you overcome this? I am free and open to talk about whatever the fuck it is. If there's something bothering you or you feel like you are just falling apart one night, message me. I don't judge. I am there to help you and I'm there to listen. I don't do none of that drama shit, talk behind your back shit. I don't do that shit, okay? I ain't got time for that. I got time to help people. And that's what I'm here for. And I know that recovery is hard. It is harder to get sober than to stay sober. It's easy to stay sober, but don't kid yourself. In these 3.5 years that I have been sober or clean from heroin, I have had times where I break down. There is times where I just want to numb whatever emotion comes up my way. But I know that I reach out to my husband, and my husband is my fucking rock, my best friend. And I open up to him and I get through it. Get through things. And if you are starting just to be clean, find things to keep yourself busy. Don't sit there and think about the feeling of heroin or the feeling of whatever drug you're addicted to. Don't sit there and give that fucking demon any more time. You kick that bitch to the curb and you do you, baby. Trust me, it works. But anyway, I hope this helps somebody, because that's what I'm here for. And message me with more ideas on what to do on a video, because I'm all about it. So I will talk to you motherfuckers later. See ya.